Hey, working. For B-side fight.
B-side fight.
B-side fight.
Yeah.
Who taught you that, B?
You know, some great guys. The great Josh Chapman.
Welcome to the Developmental Focus Point. I'm your host, Bo Scarbrough, former Alabama running back, face of the USFL, and with me are my three co-hosts, Blake Sam, Trent Richardson, and Christion Jones. We're brought to you by Workspace Solution and Oakmont Financial Partner. What's up, Blake? What's up, Christion? What's up, Trent? How y'all boys doing?
Bo? How everybody doing?
I'm good. I feel like I'm in the locker room.
When you go to Texas, Blake?
Sure, January 14th.
What city they located in?
Commerce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm be there on the 14th.
How far is that from Dallas?
An hour.
Oh, that's not bad.
All right, though.
Look at Trent. What you about to say to her, Trent?
And I'm trying to check out what he got on tonight. What you got on tonight, man?
Oh man.
I see him on there like this.
What you CJ, Christian. You see how I look at him, Christian, like this.
Wait, what you got going on over there, cuz?
Boy, the boy said all out blitz. The boy said cover zero.
What you covering up over there, B?
I ain't covering up nothing, man. It's a clothing brand, man. It's
You paint houses too?
No, man, it's just his clothing brand, man. I think it's dripped up for sure, man. Got paint on it, you know what I'm saying? Stand up. Got paint around the way, down the hip, you feel me?
Oh, okay. Hey, Blake. Sit your ass down, man.
Oh, man.
What's up? CJ,
it's all good, LT.
CJ, you still at mine, or you the mind graded on down the central?
I don't even know what I'm doing yet, Bo.
Oh, you ain't made a decision?
Yeah, I ain't made no decision, but it's gonna be a decision probably getting made in the next couple of days, though. That's a fact.
Oh, okay.
Christian, how Pop's doing, man?
You're doing good, bro. Doing real good. I was just with him yesterday. Huh?
How your uncle doing, man?
They doing good. My who?
Your blind uncle.
Man, yeah, man. He having a ball right now. His birthday was yesterday. He having a ball, man. He out there trying to buy some new glasses.
Speaking of birthday, man, I know you had a birthday yesterday too, man. Happy birthday, bro.
Man, appreciate that. Appreciate that, man. Big 3-0. Big 3-0.
Turning 50.
Yeah, man. It's crazy.
You know, you got an old soul.
It's crazy, but hey, when they say you turn 30, boy, you feel 30, boy.
Oh, yeah.
What you feel
I'm talking about at 12 o'clock, like not 11:59, but 12 o'clock, not 12:01. You feel 30 when you turn 30 now.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact. That is a fact.
So, Christian, what you been telling your guys so far?
What you mean?
About leaving, staying.
Oh, I ain't telling nobody. I ain't saying nothing to nobody.
Oh, you gonna do it the Cole Cochran way?
So
I'm gonna tell the head coach.
You ain't like Cole Prime. You know what I'm saying? You gonna finish it out.
I mean, the season is over with. I'm not even on necessarily on staff. I'm still basically like a volunteer coach. So it's not like I have any obligations to the school. Yeah, I can leave whenever. I can leave.
You trying to go be a head coach somewhere?
No, not right now. I got offered a job to be a special teams coordinator and the wide receiver coach.
I say I got a couple places to call me to be a head coach, man. I can't do it right now. I could definitely put you on if you're trying to do the head coaching job, man. Right now, you know, I got them girls, man. I got 2 more years with them, man. So I ain't got that long with them. I'm trying to finish that out with them. 2 and 3 more years with them. And then by that time, TJ them probably, they'll be in middle school doing their thing. Tor be doing their thing in middle school and stuff. And by that time, I can take that transition with you. You want to do this head coaching job situation right now, or around by that time, step up there to the job. You can be my OC.
Shit, however it worked. I'm really just trying to gain more experience right now. Mine was my first year. Was my first year ever coaching on the, you know what I'm saying, on a real platform, and so being able to go to Central and not upgrade to special teams coordinator. So it's just the guy working in mysterious ways, bro. And it's convenient, right across the street. You know, makes sense, bro. It just makes too much sense.
Makes sense. But yeah, man, I think it's time for us to introduce our guest that we have tonight. You know, Alabama legend, member of the College Hall of Fame, played with Coach TJ, one of the best to ever do it.
Yes,
EJ Jr. the third. What's up? How you doing?
I'm having fun with listening to you guys. I'm having flashbacks. All these young coaches ready to get in. You sure you ready for that grind? Come on, please. Come on.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely ready for that grind.
Yeah.
Well, come on then. I mean, it's worthwhile to be able to give back. You know, the things that you learn. As a matter of fact, my mentor and coach from Alabama, Sylvester Croom, just went into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I first told him I was going to coach, he said, "Man, you crazy." And then he looked at me and said, "Yeah, but you'll do a good job, because what you want to do is give back the things that you've learned and try to create this foundation for these young men to build upon it with a game called football, to be able to have lifelong experiences through the things that you've learned, and you be able to give back to them."
Yes, sir.
True enough. What type of players you got?
Well, we basically, I'm at Allen University, which is a D2 in Columbia, South Carolina. We're in the SIAC, finishing up the third phase of it. So we got some pretty good kids. A lot of them from the South Carolina area, the Atlanta area, Florida. So we're a young team, very young, because we graduated 6 seniors from the defense and 4 seniors from the offense. But most of our team is basically freshmen and sophomores. The program has been around for only about 5 years. Former Stillman head coach Teddy Keaton, who was there, I coached against him when I was at Central State. He's the head coach at Allen, and he's done a heck of a job. I mean, we got great coaches working with us, and then LC Coles is our defensive coordinator. We're bringing in some younger guys who are going to be able to do some coaching with us. But I think we're actually going to affect a lot of people next year in the SIAC.
Good.
What's up?
So, what are you telling your players that is, you know, you say you lost a great group of guys there, quite a bit of group of guys. What are you telling your guys that, you know, that are there now to get them ready for next year, that, you know, those guys have to fill those big spots that's open?
Oh, it's going to be fun, because you know how TJ was with you all.
Yeah.
See, I played with TJ, and I'm pulling the Coach Goose Tree off-season conditioning program. They're about to die. We started off with the big 21, maybe going up to 26, because that's what Coach Cole is bringing. And it's just trying to get them ready mentally, physically, and emotionally prepared to play a football season. You got too many guys who are focused on the me concept instead of understanding the we concept. And you got to be able to push through adversity. We lost 5 games by a total of 14 points. So when you're playing games those close, and you got to break that ceiling to get to that win column. It's mostly mental. We had too many penalties. Like I said, too many guys doing their own thing, because they felt like when things don't go right, they go back to what they're thinking instead of what you're taught to do. Mm-hmm. So those basic fundamentals, I didn't get a chance to do the spring with them last year. I came in June. The LC was there in the spring. So to be able to have a full off-season conditioning program with them to work on some things mentally, physically, before we do spring ball this year, is going to have a major effect on what we're able to do.
Hey, so you mentioned when you told Mr. Croom, Coach Croom, about you wanted to be a coach. So if you going back to those times, I know those times was a lot different back in the day, and then being an African American, wanting to be an African American coach. How did that journey kind of take you, and what were some of the things that you kind of learned through those processes that you can kind of tell someone else that's probably leading in your path where you're going?
Well, I got baptized early. When I finished my NFL career, I was playing with the Seattle Seahawks, and I tore up my knee in the last year. So the coaches at that time was Tom Flores was the head coach. We had Rusty Tillman, who was our D coordinator, Tom Catlin, who was also a mentor for Rusty Tillman. So what are you planning on doing? And at that time, I had an off-season job working as a drug and alcohol therapist and consultant. He says, have you ever thought about coaching? I'm like, no. He says, well, you've been doing it for the last year, because one of the reasons they brought me to the Seahawks was to teach a young group of linebackers how to study film, how to get prepared for games. Like we had Rufus Porter, we had Rod Woodson, some guys like that. So I actually got a taste of it early. So I ended up handling the linebackers that first year, kind of got thrown in the fire. Now, I learned that it was a Bryant. Now, you wake up early, you watch a lot of film, you do a lot of meetings, you come up with game plans, and it was something I enjoyed doing. But then after our staff was fired, I was kind of thrown in the fire trying to how to network. And see, the biggest thing about coaching is networking. You know, the guys that you coach against, the guys that you coach with, you form friendships, you form relationships, because those guys, you may not see them for years, but they'll think about you and say, hey, I knew this guy who coached linebackers back in the day. I've coached in the NFL Europe. I've done internships with the Vikings. I've done internships with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, I was in administration with the Miami Dolphins for several seasons. So the biggest thing is to learn how to network. The AFC Coaches Convention is coming up in Charlotte the first part of January. If you get a chance to go, man. Start learning. You know, if you haven't never been a GA or you want to be a high school coach, start networking with a lot of coaches, you know, who basically are going somewhere, because it gives you an opportunity to learn from the ground up. You want to learn if it goes to learning how to just move the equipment, you know, special teams, you know, doing those things. I became a head coach because when my first college job was at a small college called Southwest Baptist in Bolivar, Missouri. Matter of fact, I still have a house. I was the most experienced coach with the most leadership, and I was the laundry guy, and I kind of resented it. But what I ended up finding out is all the players would come to me during breaks and talk to me about either family problems, academic problems, girl problems, and I learned how to budget and do all the things in the equipment room. So that taught me management. Well, guess what? I went from being a linebacker coach to the D coordinator, and then a year after I became a coordinator, I became the head coach of Central State. The first thing I had to do was put the budget together for all the equipment and everything. So it's everything that you do as a coach prepares you for the next level. Never turn down a job. And when I say never turn down a job, what the coach is asking you to do. But you learn how to network. You know, go to these coaches conventions, go to these clinics, learn as much as you can, because you think you know a lot, and you'll be surprised how much you can learn when you start seeing other people's defense. I'm a 4-3 guy. I'm a 4-2-5 guy. But then working with LC Coles this past year, working with his hybrid 3-4, I'm loving that system. So there's a lot that you can do with it, because you can learn from different people, different things that's going to help you. We have the same kind of philosophies when it comes to defensive concepts, but we sit down and we spend a lot of hours just talking about how do we want to stop somebody. And those things come from communication. And I know LC. I coached against LC when he was at Stillman, and I was the head coach of Central State. So a lot of these friendships, a lot of these things have developed, and they remembered me and said, what were you doing? I was working at my son's high school at one time as a defensive coordinator. He says, well, you want to get out of kindergarten, come back with the big boys? And I got a call. So I'm loving it. Hopefully I'll get a chance to be a head coach again or a D coordinator somewhere.
So, Coach, we have a question for you from Ms. Brooke Matavo. What are your top 3 fundamentals you try to focus on with your players?
For the top 3 fundamentals when I talk to any player, first of all, academics. You treat that teacher in your classroom like you treat a coach on the field. If you're late for that practice, you're going to get punished. Well, if you're late for a teacher's class, you're going to fail. Just like if you go into life, you got a job. Your first job is to be on time and be there to learn.
Right.
That's the first thing. Second thing, work on your skills. When I say work on your skills, is you're never as good as you think you are, but you're never as bad as you want to be. But you got to work on those things. I mean, I became a fundamentalist. Coach Croom was probably say I'm probably the most technically sound defensive end that he had. He had me, he had Biscuit, he had Derek Thomas, he had Mike Pitts, he had Emmanuel King. So he put out 6 All-Americans. And these things were just basically taught to me from Coach Croom early. So your academics is important. Then work on your skills. The third thing is take care of your body. You have to take care of your body. Eat well, getting rest. Quit playing these video games till 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, thinking that you're going to get up the next morning and be able to function. It doesn't happen. I know I was a video addict, and one time this is taking up too much time. Played a game called Legend of Zelda. I had to let that stuff go. I had to focus on what would take care of my body, being flexible, eating the right things, lifting, running. When I didn't want to run. But those fundamentals go back to doing the things. But the biggest fundamentals, no matter what you do, and it's the most important one, do the little things. When I say the little things, it's like when you get up and make your bed. If you see trash, pick it up. Those little things help you pay attention to the details of what you're going to do in life. Because those things, when it's not done right, it bothers you. And when it bothers you, you'll go back and do it until it's done right. So that's the biggest fundamental. If you had to focus out of all of them, do the little things that's going to make you successful.
Man, Coach, that's crazy. You talking about doing the little things, about making the bed. I'll be on my kids' tail about, just a small detail stuff, like make your bed before you go to school. Make sure them dishes clean before you go to sleep. And they be like, well, Dad, like, why are you always on us about, the small stuff, in the morning we be, throwing our clothes around and, getting ready for school. Well, if you get ready the night before, you don't have to do nothing but make your bed. It'd be small stuff like that, man. It's kind of crazy because a lot of stuff that I learned from school, from coaches, like Coach Burns or, Nick Saban, just the small details made a difference. Like it made a big difference, man. Mm-hmm. And so it's funny you talking about that because I was just talking about this. And I might have said this on the show, on our show was probably the first Wednesday we did this, about the small details, man, the process of the discipline and just getting stuff right and, being great at, what you can do. And it turns into big stuff. And so, it's everyday life stuff that we deal with and you don't even know it, man. You're already game planning. You're already getting prepared. But Coach, I had a question for you, man. How would, and I want to, and I want to see how you're dealing with this stuff too. I don't know if y'all dealing with it as much as the, the bigger schools, but how would Coach Bryant deal with the NIL stuff?
I think that the NIL is good, but it's going to be atrocious because when they put it in, they did not think it through. They basically said, well, we're going to implement it, but they didn't put any rules. They didn't put any cap on it. They didn't say who could contribute. They didn't say, how is it going to affect the bigger schools compared to them? Because now basically everybody's a free agent. It's the NFL. What this is the NFL model in college. But see, the NFL has a salary cap. The NFL has a structure for players basically, in a sense, getting paid. Because that's basically what's happening now. These players are getting paid because of the, I was listening to the radio on the way here that, Michigan has got $10 million in theirs, and Alabama's around $10 million. Somebody's at $8 million. So the playing field is going to be different for every school. And you're going to go where you can get paid. Well, guess what? If you don't like where you're at, then you're going to go somewhere. That would have never sat well with Coach Bryant. It really doesn't sit well with me. Because, I think because of what your body goes through, I would like for it to be put in a fund so when you get through playing ball, now you get those dollars because, first of all, you're there to get an education. You're not there just to play ball. Because if you tear up your knee, which is what I did 13 years after playing college ball, I can fall back on my degree. But a lot of these guys who go from place to place to place, I'm wondering what's happening with their doggone transcripts and their GPAs and their grades. Are they finishing, or are they just hired guns mercenaries just to try to go play pro ball? And what happens if you don't play? What are you going to do with the next 30 years of your life? That's my first thing when I recruit. My first question, not about anything about football, is what do you plan on doing when you grow up? because that's where you're there. You're a student first. So the NIL has kind of thrown a financial structure. As much as we didn't want to have agents involved in our game in college, it's going to be a must because these kids don't know how to manage their money. I hope they do some financial education, just like if you played in the league, you know about player programs. I helped put that together when I was in the NFL because there were too many guys who become broke when they get through playing this game because they didn't manage their money. They didn't know how to handle emotional stress. This domestic violence is going around, the HIV and AIDS. All those things matter. They need to be educated on all those aspects instead of just making money. How to save your money, how to invest your money, who's investing your money, who do you trust to invest your money. All these things are going to come to play. So Coach Bryant wouldn't have been happy about it unless it was going to be more structured. Just to throw it out there and says, okay, well, we'll figure it out along the way. It's put the college game in a whole different perspective, because now what you're going to see, FBS is going to become its own entity. It's going to be almost like a sub NFL. It's going to become its own league. And now your top schools in FCS, your 1AA schools and your D2s are going to be the ones who are going to be under this new NCAA guideline to handle this, because the bigger tiers, the Power Fives and all those, are going to basically become their own league without any kind of supervision from the NCAA, because they can't handle it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's crazy because it's kind of like, how do you even put structure on it now and include that in the transfer portal? Like every time I seen somebody sign with Alabama today, he was saying that, well, such and such signed NIL deal. It wasn't even the fact that they signed with Alabama. It was like they signed the NIL deal. And it was just like, bro, like, it's not even about the letter intent no more. It's free agency. Like, it's the real market out there, and it's kind of like the love of the game. And I know Tebow said something about this, and he got a lot of heat about this. He didn't like the fact that players are going to get paid, and I feel like players should get paid for the NIL stuff. But I feel like it should be a certain percentage that they get while they're in school, and then get the rest of it, like you said, when they're done with it.
Right.
And it's kind of like, well, now I think it's tax free right now too. It's like, how can you even put a hope to any of this?
What's going to happen, I really believe, is that they're going to put some type of salary cap on the amount that each school can, because to create a fair playing field, you have to put a cap on it. So either it's going to be a maximum or a minimum that they can have. Secondly, they're going to come up with probably how should it be distributed? When can you distribute those funds, and what is it geared towards? Who's contributing to those things? Because what's going to happen? It's going to be like the NFL free agency. First, they started off with Plan B before they went to total free agency. Because I was a Plan B free agent when we were talking about free agency back in the day, and now you got full blown free agency. But there's still rules and guidelines to it. It's going to take a little while, because you can't put that genie back in the bottle, but you can kind of structure it as it goes. And they're going to see what's right with it. They're going to see what's wrong with it. And it's going to take about maybe 5 or 6 years to get to that point. But hopefully it doesn't destroy the game, because how can you tell one kid, quarterback has a $10 million deal and say $1 million deal and you're getting $450, and I'm supposed to be blocking for this guy, and basically they don't care about me. So it becomes like I said, it goes back to that me mentality over the we mentality. And I think that's the one thing I'm kind of curious to see how Coach Saban, Dabo, Lincoln Riley, how Deion's going to handle this in Colorado, because this is going to be a totally different animal than being at Jackson State, because now you're trying to handle people's financial aspects with it, because with much is given, much is required. And I don't know if a lot of these young men at 18 and 19 years old are ready to handle those responsibilities.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. It's
too late. Too late.
Blake, tell me this: how you gonna handle your NIL stuff, man? Why? Because I know you dipping in that world. What you gonna do over there, Coach Blake? Coach Sam.
First off, I've always been with the NIL deal, the athletes getting paid and having the opportunity to change their family's life and provide for their family in a situation. And only thing I'm gonna speak about is that if you want to get paid, put the work in, baby. If you want to put the work in, but other than that, don't come in my office. Don't come in my office. Hey, the work speaks for itself, right? That's what we all knew. We all knew that the work speaks for itself, man. When you like I like to say, when you look good, you play good. When you play good, they pay good. You know what I'm saying?
That works. Hey, that works. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, the thing is that they still need to be educated on handling those things, because are you going there to play just football?
Right.
Because if you're getting paid to play ball, are you going to class?
And so that's
so when you're looking at that in Division I, one of the things they don't ever talk about is the APR, which is your academic progress report or your progress towards the degree. And if you're just transferring and you going to play here because you don't like what they're paying you or whatever, you go to another. When do you ever put in the academics to be eligible? Because if you're eligible, you're not going to get paid. So now that becomes a different animal. It's your responsibility to still get the academics done. And if you don't get the academics done, how are you going to graduate? So that's the other thing that you have to be careful. Are you going there just to play ball? Or are you trying to get an education so you can play ball so you can better your life in the long run? See, because you can be pimped by getting the money, but you're not doing the schoolwork. All of a sudden now you get kicked out of school because you don't have the academics. Then what? Because you can't go to another school if you're on probation or suspended.
True. I used to love what Coach Sav used to say, if I can't trust you off the field, how can I trust you on the field?
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. And at the same time, too, man, I think they need to put people in place that look like us, man, that, you know, can help these kids with their money. And when I mean like us, world, I don't mean just black folks. I mean people that's, you know, that's been there, done that, that's been around and you know, not just going to sell you this dream that, you know, they're going to take insurance out and do this, all this other stuff. No, we need some guys that's in there that's actually, you know, for the players and not just going to talk to you for 30 minutes and you got to make a decision like picking an agent. And these guys, you know, that's been around that can show you progress and they can show you, you know, how we're going to be able to, you know, put your money up and grow from it. Be able to put
now, you know what's going to happen with all that. Not to interrupt you, Trent. The college players are going to form a union.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
That's what it's going to take to be able to organize this, to keep everything fair and on the same level. So like I said, it's slowly becoming the NFL, because to be represented, what happens if I get hurt? What happens to my NIL? Because it's very similar to the NFL. The NFL, there's a disability that you receive. You know, I was talking to it'll come to me in a minute. Tore up his knee. His insurance only covered so many years once he left college, but he's still paying medical bills 10 years, 15 years later. Mm-hmm. And that's not being covered by the school. But he injured his knee and tore up his knee playing ball at the University of Alabama. Mm-hmm. See, that's where it's going to start wondering, how do I protect myself long down the road? Because there needs to be some things in place for guys who get hurt, or girls, be it basketball, volleyball, whatever, that get these career-ending injuries that needs to handle these medical bills long after they graduate from college. Because they did it while they were representing your university. These millions of dollars that we put on that field, playing in the Sugar Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, all these TV deals that are being made. How's that benefiting those students who tear up their bodies playing this game? Yeah, it's a sacrifice that we did, but we're still bringing dollars to those schools. Yeah. So the NIL is just a little bit of it. And what's going to happen is there's going to be a union. And when that union starts, then let's see how that gets handled.
Yeah. And yeah, when they start this union, they're going to have to put somebody in place like, man, put a Bo Jackson, put somebody like me, put somebody that's been like in that situation, put a pro throw. whoever that's been in that situation to where, hey, if you get hurt or if you don't get your name and likeness or, this happened while you were in college, that you can have, people that's, been there, done that. Don't put no suit and tie guy up in there that's never played the game. That's the only thing I care about when they put folks in place to make these decisions for these athletes that's never been in these guys' shoes.
I have no problem with that whatsoever. I mean, that's what it's going to have to take.
Yeah.
So, Coach, I want to ask you a question. You play offense or defense back in your day?
Defense.
Okay.
One of the best to ever do it. Defense, baby.
I'm on the right path then. I'm on the right path. So back in the day when you was at Alabama, man, on Saturday night, you had to face all of us on the other side of the football. What you think gonna go on that night?
Oh, it's gonna be on. It's gonna be on like Jerome. Because hey. Now, see the game that they're playing now with we got to protect defenseless player. There was no such thing as a defenseless player back when I was playing. Right. If you're carrying the ball, you ain't defenseless.
Well, I'm just the pass. I'm sliding them your way.
I mean, basically, it's a mental game.
Okay.
And, and I'm gonna play games with. I'm gonna let you think I'm blitzing or I'm coming. I'm gonna read your eyes. I'm gonna basically anticipate. I'm gonna know everything about you, including your baby's Social Security number. That's a mentality that that's the preparation when we talk about doing the little thing. Know your opponent. I know you were a hell of a ball. I love watching all you guys play, man, because I follow Alabama ball religiously. I don't get down there much because I was always coaching. But don't think I don't watch Alabama and still don't brag on the guys who've been there after me. I just helped lay the foundation. Those guys like Sylvester Croom and all those guys laid the foundation for me. But I know the mentality that we have is a lot different. So when you look at the coaches who are coaching now, everybody's copying what Alabama's done. Dabo took what Alabama done. He took it to Clemson. Urban learned from the SEC and took it to Ohio State. Everybody is copying what is being done in the SEC. So it's a mentality. You don't play patty cake ball in the SEC. It's a physical game. That's why when you're going to watch Georgia play Ohio State, I'm like, yeah, Ohio State's getting there, but it's still a physical game. Michigan and TCU is going to be a good game. I watched the Alabama game against Cincinnati. My son's a linebacker at Cincinnati. I'm like, son, you ain't seen these dudes at Alabama. Because when I was on the sideline at the Tennessee game last year being recognized for the Hall of Fame, I'm saying, I don't know if I can even play with these guys. I feel like a Smurf. There was some trees on that offensive defensive line. I'm like, okay. And he's 6'2", 225 pounds. I'm like, man, I feel like a Smurf out there. And when I played, I was 210 when I was a freshman. I was 238 when I was a senior. So it would have been fun. But the thing is that competition loves competition, and there's always the only difference between us and you all is that if I knocked you out, I picked you up, patted on the butt. Come on, Bill, you got to do better than that. Come on, bring it again. Or y'all just step over people and just keep walking. So I didn't let you rest. I'm gonna let you come on, get up. We got to do this again, bro.
Yeah, respect.
Coach, you was at DN at 210.
I was DN my freshman year. I was 210. By the time I graduated, I was 238.
River Liz all day.
So you have to understand, we played a 5-2. 5-2 is nothing but a 34 defense. I was an outside linebacker. They just want to call it defensive end and out.
With a cover 3 or man coverage back there.
We played a lot of cover 2.
Okay,
cover 2. We did a lot of cover 2 man. We did play 3 every once in a while. But Coach Donnie, who's one of the most brilliant minds of it, he had mixed coverages too. So we almost kind of ran an early combo coverage, like cover 6, which is 4-2 quarters on the front side, halves on the back. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of times I would be stacked and have a drop, be it to the flat, curl to flat, or a hook drop. But I mean, that's what you ended up moving me to when I went to the pros. I got drafted as an inside linebacker. I'm like, well, wait a minute, I played outside linebacker in college. How's that? He said, because your way you drop, your reads, the way you attack downhill, you're an inside guy. I'm like, wow. But I could play any position in the pros. I could play inside, outside, in a 4-3 or 3-4. Didn't matter.
That made you more valuable, though.
Oh yeah, I wish they let me play like LT and Parsons and all them guys. Man, I might have been something better. I can only play. I can only play on one side of the field. They didn't move me around like Biscuit and DT.
Cole, I want to ask you something about that transfer portal in relative of high school recruits, like the leverage now of being able to have that turnaround and turnover on your season, getting guys out the transfer portal. How does it look now trying to recruit kids in high school, knowing that you can possibly get a better kid, more experienced kid in the transfer portal?
Christian, the biggest question on that is, does that kid from the transfer portal fit your culture? You know, I'm one who likes to develop them from scratch because now they got 4 years of my teaching from the beginning. Is a lot of people don't have that kind of time. I might get somebody from the transfer portal if I'm looking for a D lineman or an offensive lineman to fill a void. But I would like to. Is really a big disadvantage to high school kids. The reason being, if I have a choice between getting a high school kid or a kid who's been playing for 2 years, who at least got some 2 years of experience, most guys want to go with that guy with two years of experience. The problem is, what is his grades like when he's coming in? Does he fit into your culture? Is he a me player or a we player? And then does he become a cancer or does he become a benefit? Because you're going to lose that kid after 2 years. Now you got to start all over again.
Right.
So I'm one of those in the smaller schools, the D2s, the 1AAs and the D2s are going to be able to recruit high school kids a lot easier because a lot of your top high school kids are going to fall through the cracks. You're going to be able to get some quality kids who are high school guys who come to your program and benefit you right now, but you're still trying to develop them. And that's the biggest key. Do you develop? How do you want to develop them? See, now a lot of coaches don't have time to develop, and that's what's problem when you look at Alabama this year. No knock on Coach Saban, but that was the most this was the most undisciplined Alabama team I've ever seen.
For sure.
I mean, especially on the defensive side of the ball, I was very disappointed. To have that many penalties, to have that many breakdowns in coverage, and one of our problems at Alabama. We can stop the run, but we have a problem with that 11th person, which is a running quarterback who can throw. If you go all the way back to John Manziel, actually, you can go back to when I was playing. If we had a quarterback like John Facade, who was at Ole Miss, who could run and could throw, he created fits for our defense because you don't take that 11th person into your scheme because you got a safety playing 12 yards deep. That's your 11th person. If you don't bring him into the box to be that fit guy, it creates a problem.
Right.
And every team that's been able to throw in Alabama and can run, especially in a hurry-up situation, because Coach Saban has 9,500 checks. He has something that can stop everything. But if you don't have time to make the adjustment, they'll break down. So now we got to be more disciplined in that. Well, when you get these guys who transfer in, they can't possibly learn that system that quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that takes years of developing, going through those practices, seeing it over and over and over and over. It's just going back to doing the little things, making up the bed. If you get used to making up the bed, it becomes habit. You don't have to think about it. These guys who come in don't get that kind of timetable to learn because they're talented, they can play, but they don't know all the little nuances that need to go in to performing on game day.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, you could be a one-hit wonder. I mean, hey, the kid from Oklahoma going to Southern Cal, that's a different thing. But he was already used to his system.
I agree with you, and the reason why I said it because, like I told Justin them on the show before, we get a lot of transfer guys that come in and that they don't know the system and they don't know the program well. And they don't know what expected, and they don't know the expectation is so high. And when they come in, it's just like they just coming in to get a spot to get into the league because you can go to Alabama and not even touch the field and still get a chance in the NFL. For an example, Robert Foster. Robert Foster barely touched the field, and Robert Foster's still in the league right now. You know what I'm saying? Still playing. And same as Wallace. Wallace was a walk-on. He didn't get a scholarship to his last year and played all 14, 15 games. And now he ended up playing with the Bills and ended up getting a big contract. So I think that most of the transfer guys look at the lead process of it instead of what's going on in front of them right now, and not the process of what Coach Saban is teaching them in the system, and buying into the system to understand what Coach Saban is saying and understanding what he wants. And that's what I think a lot of transfer guy doesn't understand when they come to Alabama. They think that if they coming from Ohio State, it's gonna work the same way. No, it's totally different in Alabama. Things is ran totally different. You got a lot more responsibility, and you also being taught, as a man, to handle things that you're supposed to handle, as far as going to class and being on time and not missing class and being 10 minutes early to the meeting, because everybody on this podcast know that if a meeting start at 2:00 in the league, everybody is in there at 1:50, because the meeting can start at 1:58, 1:55, and they consider you late at that time. And
Right.
and a lot of guys don't understand that, and that will Coach Saban get us ready for. But when you get all this NIL money, it's hard to teach guys that, and it's hard to get guys to listen when they get $300,000 to $400,000 a month in college, and they don't have a financial advisor, nobody managing them. They can buy what they want to buy, and it just like you said, it's just like the league. You can't tell the highest paid player what to do. It's gonna be hard to get him to, if he want to say he want a day off, he gonna take a day off. It's nothing that you can do about it. You sign him to a five-year deal, $100 million contract. So that's like you said, that's what the game is turning to. But I think that Alabama need to regain the culture back, and like I heard, we don't even do the fourth quarter no more. I think we need to bring that back, and maybe these guys will understand what Coach Saban is trying to drill in their head. Because when you go through that fourth quarter program, that make you a man. That make you think, do you really want to play football? Is this really for me? If I'm really good at
Yes.
football, like going through fourth quarter, it make you think about all that, like, because of what we go through. Like it's the toughness of the fourth quarter that we go through, and the commitment that we have and the effort that we put in. And a lot of people don't understand the fourth quarter of what we do, and they don't understand why we call it the fourth quarter, because of all the things that we do. And the old four letter mean a lot to the effort, the toughness, the pride, the discipline, and the guys that transfer in, they don't understand the commitment and the effort and the pride that they have to have playing in Alabama.
Man,
See,
you know what the problem is right now? The problem is right now, man, we ain't got nobody on the team to smoke cigarettes, smoke Black and Miles, that can take a gunshot on Wednesday and play on Saturday, man. We ain't got none of them dogs. But I think this recruiting class, I think he might have found him a few that's ready to lead, that's going, they might be a late. Somebody might have to come get them out of bed 1 or 2 times. And they're gonna be that dog. You don't need that many, you only need about 5 or 8. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely think that's been the biggest problem, man. And I don't mean to cut you off, Coach, but to go back to that transfer portal, man, my biggest thing about that transfer portal, the only problem I have with that, other than, it's being a free agency market now, I think that a lot of high school kids, man, especially when that COVID hit, miss out on the opportunities, man, of getting recruited, man. You think about Mark Ingram, he was a 3-star. Think about Dante Hightower, he was a 3-star. Them guys, like, you looked at Alabama recruit class this year, it was number 5 stars or 4 stars. It might have been 1 3-star. But you go look at that list, like, you gotta be a 5-star or a 4-star to get recruited now, because that transfer portal is already full with 5 stars and 4 stars that got a couple years on them, like you said, Coach. And you talking about these big Power 5 schools.
But see, part of the other problem with the what I'd like to see is that the kid stay at his university 2 years at least, minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, these kids now, they want it, and they want it now. It's a microwave society. They want to come in, they want to play right now. They don't trust the process. Each one of you guys, when you went to Alabama, had to wait your turn.
Exactly.
You didn't. I got thrown into the fire my freshman year. I didn't think I was going to play as a freshman. I wasn't even trying to play as a freshman. But because the way I played, I got thrown into the fire, and everything I learned, on the road. I wish I had a red shirt year, another year to develop, to gain some weight, gain some strength.
Yeah,
But when I played, it was a competitive group. I mean, I'm playing with All-Americans and linebackers, D line, even at D end. Wayne Hamilton was an All-American for us at defensive end, and he was my cohort. But there were two guys behind me just as good as I was, and that pressed us more. The thing is that I was an All-American, then Mike Pitts became an All-American. After that came Emmanuel King. It's because they waited their turn. Emmanuel King was a freshman when I was a senior. Mike Pitts was a sophomore. So they each had to wait their turn to get playing time. Now, we substituted a lot more now than they did back then than they do now. But each one of you all paid the price to do what you needed to do, to learn what you needed to learn through that process. It's a process to be a champion. You just don't wake up and be a champion. You work through it. You have to grind through it. You have to get beat up. You have to get beat down. And you have to say, like you said, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
And we call it gut check. We create, everybody knows we created this. This came from Alabama. Everybody copies it, but they don't understand what it means.
And that's the problem.
They really don't understand what that means.
That's the problem. Them kids coming in and we winning national championships every year or every other year, and they wake up champions. They don't have to go through that process and that grind.
Right.
Like CJ, Blake, y'all remember my sophomore year. We didn't win it my sophomore year. I think that was y'all freshman year, if I'm not mistaken.
Blake freshman year for sure.
Y'all was Blake freshman year for sure. And we had to go back and grind my junior year because we won in my freshman year. But we had to go back and grind. We had to sit there and see, like, okay, this what it is to get punched in the mouth after you win that championship. Because we were still partying, baby. We were still on that high horse on that 2009, but we had to make a change because we had a better team. The 2010 team was a better team. We had a lot of returners coming back, but we didn't have that leadership. We didn't have them guys like the Rolando McClains and the Javier Arenas sit there and tell us to shut the hell up. Hey, I'm gonna cuss y'all out every meeting on them Thursday players only meetings. We didn't have those guys. Julio led, but he led quietly. Mark Barron was a leader too, but he led quietly. But those guys that actually put in the work that before we got there, that we seen the Rolando McClains, the Javier's, and the Mike Johnsons, and I mean, man, I would see Mike Johnson go at James Carpenter. They got into a literally fist fight because he kept messing up the call. At your Mike point, Mike didn't like that. Like, hey man, get your stuff together. They had words and pat, 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 2-piece. Then it was over with. They shook hands after they got it right, but they didn't have them type of dogs. Like we I don't see that nowadays, man. And I'm not saying that these kids are not doing that, but when it came to being a brotherhood and sticking together, keeping everybody accountable, like that's where they gotta be.
Trent, them boys haven't even had a fight this year in training camp or nothing. And y'all know during training camp, about week 2 into training camp, offense and defense is rolling and tumbling.
Man.
We got guys that hurt jumping off the bike, standing up for their side of the ball. Mm-hmm. Even though you hung out with the defensive guy, but you still going against them in practice. Like, nah, I'm riding with the offensive guy. And you ride with your defensive guy, but we don't have guys on our team that like I said, they're gonna go around and slap somebody upside the head and tell them get your ass in the locker room.
Man, I was talking about this on the show before this, man. I was talking about the guys that, man, we need to have a couple fights in summer camp. Like it need to be 1 or 2. I remember what set us straight, man. When I seen Rolando McClain and Chris Rogers get into both of them guys was captains, and both of those guys was, at the top of the top. Chris Rogers was a special team captain. Rolando was the team captain. And when those guys went at it over a flyer, that Rolando didn't like the flyer. He ripped it down because he didn't mess with the bros, whatever. And Chris Rogers was a bro. He was mad because somebody ripped this.
Chris Rogers was a cap.
He was, hey, is there another fraternity?
He didn't like that. He didn't like that point because I guess they had, they had jump row or something had happened. It was a big thing his freshman year. And so Chris Rogers came and said, who two down my flyers? So he thought one of the freshmen did it. And Rose said, what I did it in what? I did it in what?
Right.
So Rose stood up, Chris stood up. They went at it, but it was like you look at stuff like that, okay. Those guys ain't backing down from each other. And those guys, we got to respect that. You got to, know what I'm saying? Okay, that's what it is. DJ Fluke and Mike Bowman got into a fight our freshman year. But as you seen that happen, those guys, they was the best friend. They was roommates that got into it. But you see stuff like that happen every year. I remember Kenny Bell and Mark Ingram getting into it. They ain't in there fighting with towels on them. They ain't in naked in there fight. You know what I mean? But it's stuff like that. Like you see these guys, man, they come together and become a brotherhood, man. And like it's not like that no more, man. Like, and I'm not telling these guys go out there and fight, but hold each other accountable, man. Like show that you are a big dog all the time. It takes a lot to be that guy. And if you ain't gonna be that guy, then okay, everybody can't be a chief. Some people got to be an Indian.
Right.
Well, that's called leadership. And that's part of the culture. So when you get this many people in and out the culture and they don't understand that standard, that's like the show, the Bama standard. There is a standard at Alabama.
Of course.
Everybody has to meet that standard. And everybody has to go through that process to reach that standard. You're just not given that standard. You have to earn it.
Exactly. And the expectation is so high. And Coach, before we let you go, I want to ask you one last question. Can you tell us about your favorite play at Alabama that you had?
Oh, there were so many. I mean, the block punt against Missouri, the interception against Georgia Tech, but it's going to always go back to that famous goal line stand in 1978 against Penn State that got us that first national championship. Martin Lyons basically looked at Chuck Fusini and says, I think you better pass. And we sold out on the run, and we stopped them. That was that first national championship. That first one was always the best one, even though the next one, when we went undefeated, got ripped off my freshman year because they jumped Notre Dame from 5th to 1st. But the goal line stand, no matter how many plays I made as an individual, that was a team effort on that goal line standard. And that's the one that's going to always be my favorite play of all times.
Yeah, Coach. Well,
mad respect for you, Coach.
For you, Coach.
Mad respect for you, brother, man. Y'all keep carrying the torch, keep teaching these young guys, and keep coaching them.
Yes, sir.
We'll give back what's given to you, and it'll always be something. You're going to always be successful. And I'll stay in touch with you, brothers. Good luck, and I hope to see you again soon.
Yes, sir.
Happy holidays, man.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Coach, for sure, man.
Yes, appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, that was some good words. That powerful word coming from a guy like that. Yeah.
You're preaching for sure.
When you got guys like that at your university, man, like you can't do but ancestor, man. Like to us, he's our ancestor, bro. Like so, you got guys like that, man, that's been through it, seen different change within decades, like done seen it from when they was in the wishbone, when they didn't even want. You know what I'm saying?
With TJ,
yeah, they won't change. Now we went to the power eye. Now we going to the spread. Now we it's different models that you have seen, but that being through the defensive changes and like he said, he was 210 his freshman year. And I ain't want to disrespect OG, but I'm gonna tell him like defense the end. I know it was a different time back then, but I'm gonna tell him defense the end at that time. I mean, this time 210, I wasn't even looking your way. It's funny to me, but but his heart, I can't be denied is what we don't have anymore.
Right. True.
And we trying to get these kids to realize, man, like, and I keep saying this, we're not mad at the loss. We're not mad at your losing, but the discipline of it, the hunger in your loss. Like, man, listen, we see the mistakes that you're making, but it's like, do you see these mistakes? And is it, are you gonna be disciplined enough not to jump outside? Are you gonna be disciplined enough not to get these penalties, man? Like, that's what I hate about it. Like, okay, I've never been in a game with Coach since Alabama, and I've never seen an Alabama team just get out there and go get whooped. It always be some busted coverage, fumbling, not catching the ball, or some bad penalties on us. It's never what the other team has done, because we got all the answers to the test.
It's always been about us.
Yeah, it's never about anybody else.
It was something that we did wrong, But But we're gonna move on to our next guest. This guy is a motivational speaker, and he was once a mentor towards Trent, and so is me as well. He's a trainer, one of the best guys in Tuscaloosa, Johnny Jackson. Happy to have you on, my brother. What's up, Johnny?
What's going on with it, Mr. Jackson?
Big Jackson, what's happening?
Can y'all see me? Hear me?
No, you hiding.
I'm not hiding. My computer blew up.
No,
Yeah,
you
like-
hiding. You look like you got on a bubble jacket.
I do.
Right or something.
You bubbled up. Balloon.
Too.
You know I'm bad.
What?
Show your body. Come on, Johnny. Put your face in the camera. There you go. Be a professional.
All right, here. Can y'all see me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Big Daddy.
What's up, fellas?
What's up with the ball, man?
I mean, it's a lot going on, so I can't look.
Hey man, don't be hiding from me, cuz. Where you at, bro? Where you been at?
Man, I've been in Tuscaloosa. How you doing?
Hey, so
doing,
before you came on, my boy said he had some words with you.
Hold on, Bo. Let me hit mute real quick. Let me hit the mute button real quick.
Before you came on, my boy said he had to have some words with you. So I'm trying to see what he's talking about.
Coach Jones?
From TR.
No, Coach Jones. TR3, right there in front of you.
Hey, Rick, how you doing, Trent?
I'm living, baby. I'm living.
You living?
I'm living, man.
I'm gonna ran out of here.
Listen, man.
Oh, man.
If I get one more person ask me about, man, what the beef is with you and Johnny? What beef with Johnny? Johnny Jackson? Man, listen.
Man, Johnny, tell the truth, man. What you about to slap him for, man?
Hey, listen, man. I got a mad right hand, but this left hand quicker than the right. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Oh, Johnny.
Every time I had to choke slam somebody, man, they thought I was the Undertaker.
Do we need to get the boxing gloves out for y'all, boy?
Huh?
Do we need to get the boxing gloves out for y'all, boy?
I want to be the commentator.
Me too.
Going live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Get up, Bo.
We'll have Dante Wilder be in the
What
ring.
he do, Trent? What he do to you, Trent?
Hey, man, he ain't did nothing to me, man. I just get hearing this stuff, man, that, man, Johnny said, he mad at you, man, this and that, man. Look, Johnny, man, look, whatever I did to you, brother, I apologize. Put it like that. I'm going to be the bigger man. But if I hear one more person, I'm going to come knock on that door. I know where you stay at.
I'll send you the address, my man. That ain't that. How you doing?
Listen, I understand you ain't from the real part of Florida.
He key with that.
Listen.
He key with that.
Did you know I'm knocking at that door, baby?
He keep that shit going.
How you doing?
No, listen. You know I'm knocking at that door, baby.
Trent, answer the question, man. How you doing, son?
I already told him. I'm lovely. What you mean? I ain't got to keep repeating myself, Blake. Sit your ass down, Blake. Sit your ass down. Hey, we talking man to man now. Sit your ass down, Blake.
I'm just saying, though, you been in my closet. You got my Reebok jacket on. You trying to make me the permanent mine.
Boy, this starter, boy, get your brands right, boy. This starter, old school starter, boy.
Look, I'm gonna back up. I'm on.
Tighten up. I keep telling you, Sam, you got a whole paintbrush on your side of your shirt, man. Go on, man. Sit down. Nah, Johnny, man, how your kids and stuff doing, man? For real.
They good, man. Good. I got one that's 18, got one that's 9, about to be 10. What about you?
Oh, man, them girls driving now. They 16 and 14, man. And my boys, they 10 and 7, man. TJ no one player in the nation right now, man. He doing his thing.
What's up, man? Like, we ain't getting any younger. We're just getting older and wiser, I hope.
Hey, man, I done talked to a couple folks, man, and I think that's why Johnny really mad at me, man. Cause John claimed he from Florida. He claimed he from the dirty South, and he was in the trenches and all this other stuff, man. Old Willie Spears said, man, Johnny was a beach guy. He was a surfer. So yeah, he was a surfer. So I don't know, is that why you were mad at me or what? What going on? We trying to find out.
Willie Spears, the motivational
Yeah, you know,
speaker?
Coach Willis Spears. Yeah, you know, y'all do the same thing now.
Yeah, you funny, Trent. I got you.
Hey, so John,
No, I'm not from the beach. I mean, I love the beach, but I ain't from the
Right.
beach.
okay.
But no, good man. I'm glad Bo and Christian and Blake, y'all. I got y'all. Just know that. Turn this off. It's good.
You said you got us?
It's actually good to talk to you for real. I don't know what those other people saying. Man, hey, as people mature and they grow older, man, things change and different things changes. And we were all young back in the day, and just you understand, life changes you, man.
Well, so tell us a little about that, Johnny. I know you train a bunch of middle school and high schoolers. How do you handle the situation of these kids going through adversity and they coming through your gym, and sometimes they coming not with the best attitude to work out, and how do you motivate them and put them in the right headspace to have the courage to work out and motivate themselves, or get their head back on the right track?
Well, I think all of you guys know y'all play football at a high level, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, tennis, soccer. If you're not self-motivated, the sports is probably not the field for you. I mean, everything. If you don't want to do something yourself, then probably in the wrong industry. You know what I mean? But I can always say this: motivation is kind of like, I think that saying is motivation, just like bathing. You got to do it daily.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, there's so many people, man, that they just see all of the work. Even this gym. I started on a one person, and then at my peak, I had 150 members at one time. So, and it's just about putting the work in that people don't see. You used to come here after school and train 2 or 3 times a day. Trent, was known for doing all this stuff in Florida, working out on the training tracks, and Blake and Christian, all you guys got a story, but what people don't see is that I have this saying that I live by, and it's like, if you don't sacrifice for what you want, your sacrifice begins. If you don't sacrifice for what you want, your sacrifice then begins. If you don't sacrifice for what you want, then your sacrifice becomes what you want. That makes sense?
Yes, sir. You got it now.
My bad. I had to get
No,
that out.
you good.
So, what advice do you give your senior high schoolers that come into your gym, that get ready to go to the next level of college? What advice that you get them to get a step ahead that they may run across in college, far as adversity and how to handle it?
But I think a lot of things that coaches are not touching on is that sports, and it's really the total person. Right now, these kids I know we always want instant gratification, but you got to really develop the total person. A lot of people look at the money and they don't look at, the relationship. I'll tell people I'd rather have a relationship with money. You show me your net worth, I can show you your net worth. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times it happens, and like I told you before, a lot of times guys, when they get hot, they don't make those relationships. A lot of people want to know NFL and Alabama and all these football guys, that, people that's working with administration when you're hot. Well, what happens if you don't make those relationships at the right time? It's a sad world. Then a lot of people don't want to be your friend. A lot of people don't want to go through those hard times with you. So I always say it makes many as friends as possible. Always, always take care of your spiritual life. Always take care of your finances, and always treat people with respect, man. To come back to you, man.
Well, how will they get over adversity?
I mean, in school, Bo, you get in school. It's kind of like I'm a guy of the hard knocks. In school, they give you the lesson, and then you get the test, right?
Right.
In life, you get the test, then you get the lesson. So you got to understand, you got to have we got to give these athletes a little bit of both, you know. So you can't always give them the lesson and then give them the test. Sometimes you got to give them the test and then give them the lesson.
Yeah, and I think Johnny, and not to cut you off, man, with people, what they don't realize definitely in our community, like when you said people want quick results, and when they don't get it, they want to jump up and they want to transfer, or they want to go to the next best thing that they think it is. I think that come from the community that we come from. When you come from a place like where I came from, and then you do have situations to where your whole mindset and the people that you grew up around has been instant right now. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So the process that people miss out on is the relationships that you built along the way. Like I tell people all the time, man, one of the biggest reasons why I was so strong, because what me and Johnny have done, and seeing videos when you used to show me those videos of you in the weight room or in a rec, like that was my motivation. Like, how can I be strong? How can I get this strong? And my freshman year, bro, we worked at a different level. Like we would do stuff outside of what we were just doing at Alabama.
Exactly.
And like we just kept it going. Like and I had 2 kids in high school, so you would break stuff down to me to where this is why, this is who you need to talk to. This is why you're doing this. This is who hand you need to go shake. This is the relationship. Like people miss that, and they think just because I take it like this. Jalen Hurts, right? Jalen was a smart guy, and he built a great relationship at the University of Alabama. He's gonna always be a legend in Alabama. He went to Oklahoma, did the same exact thing. He shook the right hands. He talked to the right people. He was nice to the right folks. He was always respected and gave respect to all people, and definitely the right people. So when you got guys like that get in situations where, man, I do got to transfer because this place is no longer for me as far as my football career. So what's my next best move? You done built the relationship. So when you do come back, or when you do throw a camp, when you do need something for your foundation, when you do have a situation going on, or you do want to be a coach, you want to get to the next level, you have those relationships.
Yeah, and most importantly for Jalen, that he graduated from Alabama as well. A lot of people don't know that.
Yep.
Man, I tell people all the time, bro, you graduated from Alabama, bro, it's dang near having a Harvard degree.
Right.
That is fact.
And it'd be crazy that we have over 13 players playing in the national championship that already graduated. Like we be the only school that have graduated.
That's not seniors.
Exactly. That playing in bowl game, they've been graduated, that are juniors, and then still have another full year and come back to play, football and get their master for free. And I know how hard it is once you leave, how hard it is to come back to even finish your bachelor. So it's even harder to come back to try to finish your master's. But Jalen, he graduated from Alabama. Like Trent said, he'll be forever loved at Alabama. From what he did, he paid his dues, and when it was time for him to take the back seat, he took it with no problem. And when his number was called, he was ready to take up for Tua, like Tua did him in the national championship game.
It's a fact.
Yeah,
it's a big fact.
Johnny, tell me this: how would you deal with guys? Because we had a conversation off script. Me and CJ kind of went back and forth, and I wanted to get his point of view too. And Blake, everybody can kind of answer this question about. I know we kind of already heard from Coach Jones, CJ Daddy, Christion Daddy. But how do you feel about guys not playing in the bowl game? Like, do you feel that guys should opt out, and save themselves for the league, for in case an injury happened, or you feel like guys shouldn't even think like. Not. I mean, I know I feel different, so I'm gonna let y'all answer that question first.
Well, Trent and Blake and Bo, y'all already know if you go out with the mentality that you're gonna get hurt, you probably don't need to play in a bowl game. I mean, that's if you're going out there gonna get hurt. I mean, don't play. But if you're going out there being a competitor, and wanting to show the world what you're made of, and you bleed crimson, then you're gonna play. I think it's just like with the I know it's just like with the transfer thing. I think the reason so many guys transfer now is because you guys they're not together like you guys was in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that I know when I was there, I was on the bottom of the totem pole, but you guys hung together, y'all ate together, y'all rode together, y'all walked together, class together. You did everything together, and if you listen to that word together, y'all was always together. So what now? Transfer, what this thing has done in NIL is that you got one guy that's making $1 million, and then this offensive line that's blocking for him. He ain't making nothing, and I got to block for this guy. He ain't with and telling me stuff I got you in the locker room. So you're gonna always, but I really think the locker room is really the most important football team. If you ain't hanging together in that locker room, because everybody, everybody on the outside want to be inside the locker room and they be inside that huddle. That's what makes football so special. You guys been there, and a lot of outsiders. I know the fans are the best, but it's something about being in that locker room and watching you guys and how y'all face adversity and how you guys can come from behind and win games, and if you lose a game, you shuck it off. I remember when we first lost that first SEC championship game. And the next year, I mean, I don't know what it was. It was just like fire. It was electric. Because I think everybody on that team knew that this following year, we're about to make a run. And I don't know if y'all know, I used to carry myself as such. I was a volunteer guy intern over there. But you would think I was making more money than Scott the way I carried myself, all the meetings and everything.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna tell y'all who all was just a step ahead of me. You had Jeremy Pruitt, you had Kevin Shear, you had Mark Hawk, you had the OC at Florida right now.
Billy Napier.
No, it's the OC
Doug.
head coach.
Yeah, Cowboys tripping.
Yeah. Anyway, he's the OC at Florida right now. Just make it like that.
You had what the name? Ryan Davis.
Ron Davis, head guy at Maryland. You had Frank.
Yep.
So when you start thinking about that stuff, man, I just want to be a part of it, man. And I built my business off the process.
Right.
And it wasn't just built off Alabama players, but it's built off some guys that, a lot of people, want to take a chance on. And, just from learning what I learned from over there, the mindset and understanding that, hey, I can take this right here, what I learned over there, put it in this box. And it's, I've been in business now 15 years, and I'm not saying it's never going to be any ups or downs, but a lot of it is coming, from working up 3 or 4 years and process. And you guys, I don't know whether y'all know it or not. Well, you giving back, y'all don't understand the wealth of knowledge that y'all are giving back. I mean, I know none of y'all are probably not even 40, but y'all gonna look back one day, and these kids gonna understand, like, man, they're giving us free game. But the only thing about free game, when you get free game, a lot of people don't want to listen.
Exactly.
So a lot of times what you have to do is just what I do is like, don't give so much free game that when your conversation you start to talk, it's not worth anything. So you have to really decipher who's gonna listen to you and who you're gonna drop them gems on. Because you guys it's not many people in the world to say, hey, they got a national championship and play for the GOAT. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get, it's kind of like y'all talking about these guys that's playing ball. And a ball player, you're probably like, man, all these guys, I don't think you guys and what you're trying to say and what I want the players to understand is that everything y'all saying is that you want them to take part. Like you've been there and you say, hey, we don't pay the road for you. Just listen, you don't have to go down this path because we already been paid the path for you. You got to go down your own road, but we're trying to make it easier for you. And a lot of people will say, I don't think it's negative, but I just think a lot of people don't understand the wealth of knowledge that y'all are giving them. And I wish they can understand where y'all are coming from.
And John, I think people so caught up in what we saying, and I think they so caught up in how it's coming out, and not listening to exactly what we saying.
They're not
Like, cause
processing it.
yeah, they're not processing it. So it's like, you know, people got mad, you know, when Bo came back and spoke. People got mad when Reggie had said they had Reggie trended. They were just like, bro, he's sitting there telling you like exactly what's going on. He ain't saying nothing wrong. But what we telling y'all, man, we not mad at y'all losing. It's how we losing. We're losing because we're doing crazy stuff. How are we jumping outside and we know the snap count?
Right.
You know, how we not, you know, how's Bryce breaking tackles in the backfield and our offensive line is looking back at them, or he's breaking tackles, scrambling, making a throw, and you're dropping the ball.
Right.
Why the hell open?
And why is you a receiver jumping outside? You don't need to know the snap count. Your job is to look at the ball and move when the ball move. That's a lack of focus and a lack of discipline right there.
What could it be? The approach?
Could it be the what?
Approach that we're taking to ask them these questions and ask them why they're not doing it instead of listening instead of listening first. I mean, it's just a question. I'm not.
I mean, because if you go back and you ask them, then they gonna feel like you calling them out and singing them out. Even if you pull them to the side and say, "Hey, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" And they're gonna have all these crazy reasons why they doing it that doesn't even matter to football of doing your job.
Hey, Blake, let me tell you this, man.
That's fact.
I didn't learn the snap count until my second year in college. And I had a hell of a freshman year, bro. I just moved when the ball moved. Like
me, I did the same thing.
Like, I was too worried about a motherfucker coming through, excuse my language, coming through and hitting my quarterback if I'm out there doing pass protection. Like, that's what I was worried about. Bro, I had to learn the Mike, the Sam, and make sure I knew when the blitz was coming with the safeties. Like, bro, like, for real coverage, like, to tell you what was a cover 2, cover 1, cover 0, I didn't know all that my freshman, sophomore year, bro. I didn't really learn that stuff until my sophomore year. After Mark left, because I had to learn that. Because Mark, being in that room with Mark Ingram, he would break down a coverage just by looking at the pre-snap. Like, before the play that went on, like, while they walking up, Mark was so smart and able to break it down. And when Coach Byrne would ask, what coverage is this or what, he would be talking to Mark, and Mark would answer the question. So I didn't get a chance to get called out, which I'm glad I didn't, because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I just knew they would come with a blitz because I looked at them safeties.
Right.
But just knowing that, like, I went 1,000 miles per hour, though. When that ball was snapped, I made sure they knew if I didn't know what I was doing, they didn't know I didn't know what I was doing.
Right, because you did it full speed.
That's a fact, and you're absolutely right. Like, the small things like that, you have to know your stuff. You have to know how to do your job. But like the other things that is being spoken upon, I can't speak of. And this is just me. I can't speak upon it because I'm not down there, or I'm not in touch with Birmingham, not using the opportunity or taking the chance to go down and just kick it with them boys. And understand, like, to listen. And what I mean by to listen, like, listen to understand. You feel me? Because it goes back to being a leader. You got to understand. You got to understand your game before you lead them into war.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like when I come to T-Town, I'll be in T-Town sometimes, but I'm not trying to see them boys. I'm not trying to kick it with them boys. You feel what I'm saying? True. Like, I'm with the gang, and that's it. But then when, like, they see me or they see other people just like, man, y'all boys ain't the same Bama. Y'all boys ain't the same Bama. You feel what I'm saying?
Well, but you got to go with it both ways, because when we do come back and speak, the ones a lot of them not taking that in, or you give, I went and spoke right before the season. Like, only 2 people took my number, and that was the backup quarterback and one of the guys that was from Pensacola. And those other guys, they shook my hand after, blase. Yeah. But it was like, are y'all really hearing what we saying? Because I'm not telling y'all that y'all are not this, and that. I'm telling y'all, like, hey, we talk about the Bama standard. Okay, you got to build a standard within yourself first.
Right.
No, for sure.
If you line up against me, that's just like, bro, when I came in, bro, we had 9 or 10 running backs. 3 untransferred. 2 never got to see the field. And I didn't get to play until my second game, but somebody fumbled the first game. That's how I got in. And called a Charlie horse, and I never left the field. You get what I'm saying? Like it's principles within yourself and standards within yourself is you're gonna take in what these guys are telling you. Because when Glenn Coffey, when he was leaving, he went to the Challenger Bank or the Pensacola, and you already know this, Johnny. Like we had that every year. Glenn told me, said, "Bro, you ready to come in and run that ball? Because I'm gonna leave because I know you coming. I'm leaving this up to you." That's all it took for me. That's all it took. Yeah. Like, and when Glenn spoke to me, when I was getting recruited or when he came back in town, like, bro, it was a yes, sir. Like when I spoke to Bo, when we talked, it was a yes, sir. Like, no, you're down to listening. I don't see that guys are, trying to listen. I'm not saying all of them, but there's guys out there that's almost too big for the program.
Right.
Thanks about that, but that's my question.
It's just like
I can say you, I can say so many other people, but how many of them players can say they can get on this thing 5 years from now and be like, man, Blake always used to say that. Blake used to always say that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I brought it into Jalen. I brought it into Jalen and Tua. So I know for sure they can do that. So, but Bryce, I ain't really say much to him. So that's why I don't really speak upon his attitude and the way he approached things.
Right,
yeah, but what I'm saying, the ones that do come back and speak, bro, it don't have to just be a you. You know what I'm saying? And I know you about to say the same thing.
For an example, Blake. For an example, we were playing LSU. Trent, you was on the sideline that game, and I think that it was one of the plays I had. I ran one of the dudes over, and then another dude had got under me, and I come to the sideline, and you like, hey, you know why he got under you? Because of you wasn't in this certain position. And I was like, damn, when I thought about it, listen to what you said, I was like, damn, he's sure right. Then I come back out the next drive, run through 3 people because of the knowledge that he just gave me from the sideline. You know what I'm saying? Just that fast, like boom, it clicked just that fast. But you don't have, like, when you go to the sideline now, you try to tell one of them guys something, man, they basically, they hearing you, but they basically weighing you off like, man, you don't know what you're talking about.
But then when it's gonna come to the point to where you sit there and say, well, I don't need nobody to say nothing to me. I don't put the work in. I don't been here somewhere on these 110s. Right. I done been here, you know what I'm saying, going through these surgeries and all this other stuff. It shouldn't take somebody else to have to motivate. Everybody want to say they grown man now.
Yeah.
Everybody want to say they grown man. They want to do this and that. They talk this and they 5-star this and 4-star. All right. Well, you're gonna be a 5-star. You gotta be a 5-star every damn day when you get to Alabama.
Every day.
Because everybody a 5-star, 6.5 star, baby.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Coach Saban's favorite word, consistency.
It's a fact, man. I feel like what y'all speaking is true, and I agree with what y'all saying. But I guess I'm just thinking a little deeper or a little further into it.
So Blake, elaborate on what you're saying. You saying like you're not in position to judge, or you saying that this is just a new era? You don't really talk to a lot of the players on the team. Like I'm just trying to hear you out.
So like
he basically saying that he doesn't know Bryce and his situation, so he can't come to Bryce and try to tell Bryce to do this and to that because he don't know the type of guy that Bryce is. He don't talk to Bryce. He don't. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so he's saying he can't judge.
He's saying when he's coming to the city, he be with his old teammate, the ones that played with him, that understand, because he probably, I don't know, I could be wrong. He probably feel like that if Bryce try to talk to Bryce, gonna say
Bryce is love. Feel me? Is love. Like, Bright man, nice to meet you, boy. Like, much respect and everything. But it's like with Jalen, like say like Jalen. I call Jalen up. What up, boy? Like, what going on? Like, talk to me. Talk to big bro. Like, what going on, fool? And then like, so I'll be like, No, you don't need to be doing that. Other if I'm on the phone with Bryce, you feel me? It's like, all right. So tell me why it's more like getting to understand so I can know how to approach him to where I can uplift him instead of bring him down.
But it's not bringing them. It's not bringing them down. Go ahead, John. I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead, John.
I mean, because look, you got to look at me. You got to look at me. I'm kind of like, see, I didn't play at Bama, so that's why I was asking. But I remember Blake went through a lot of adversity. I remember all of y'all, Trent, Bo, Christion, all of y'all done went through adversity. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But you know how I got dead, Johnny.
Yeah. So the reason I was saying it is just I think sometimes don't take this wrong. Every last one of y'all. I think sometimes y'all got that hardcore Coach Saban. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now y'all are saying the same thing, which I think he's saying the same thing. But with these new rules, I think you got to word it a little different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think all of y'all are saying the same thing, but I remember how when I was out there, man, I'm like, boy, this is dreams.
I don't think it necessarily the way that how we is wording it.
No, I was just saying with Blake, if he was gonna say something like the relationships, Bo, like if I can say something to you, Bo, that I can't say, so I can say the same thing to Blake, but Blake may look at me crazy how I talk to you. True. Because our relationship, you know what I mean?
Because you build that relationship.
Right. So, but
Coach Saban re-emphasized the same thing every year, the same day, the same month. It's the same thing every year. We just getting guys in there. If they not playing the first year, they ready to go because they don't know how to sit back and learn the system and learn because you not ready. If Coach Saban say you're not ready to play, then you're not ready. I mean, there were plenty of times where I thought I was ready and I got out there and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Tell me this. CJ, Christion, how many years you started at Alabama?
3.
Blake, 3. How many years you started at Alabama?
1.
Christion, Bo, how many years you started at Alabama?
1.
Now I started 3 years if I'm talking about special team, but as a running back, I started 1 year. So when you're talking about take your time, like people gotta realize, bro, it's a process. You don't need nothing but 1 year. You don't need nothing. You know what I'm saying? It don't take much. Go out there and when you do get your opportunity, ball out. So I think I got a different mentality, and I'm not saying that these kids don't have it. Like, bro, I got a story. You got a story. Everybody got a story. And so, but if you want your story to work, you want to keep fighting, take that step. Like, you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable because everybody out here hungry. They supposed to be.
For sure.
Because we had a lot of guys that played back up.
But what I be trying to say is that, like, I feel like it's two different conversations because if I'm talking upon this, like, if I'm talking to my little brother or, like, for example, right, we all know what I went through with AJ. You did what I'm saying? We all know what I went through with AJ, but if I hear from somebody else, it's going to hit me differently than hearing it from AJ. And that's what I mean by, like, if AJ coming back like, Blake, you ain't doing what you supposed to do, you ain't holding the standard. Like, I'm going to be like, boy, get out of my face, but I don't want to hear that from you. Like, we already got a bad relationship. You feel what I'm saying? But if it coming from, like, Trent, or anybody I'm cool with, it's going to hit different. But now, if you're not holding the Bama standard, then I'm coming at you with a different approach.
But you got to look at it like this, too, Blake. You don't have to approach somebody and be like, well, you're not holding the standard. Like, ask them what's going on and sitting there and say, well, bro, this is what I would do. Like, when I sat there and said something about if I was those guys, I would stay to my senior year. People took and went wild with it because they not looking into what I'm sitting there saying. Right. I didn't tell them guys to come back for their senior year, or I didn't tell them guys to play in the bowl game. I told them if I was them, I would play.
True.
I would play because this is what this program mean to me. And this is at this situation, especially with the NIL, I had 2 kids in high school, so I had to go to the NFL. Like, I had to jump. Like people got to realize too, you're talking to the same person who couldn't walk for 2 years. I played 2 years of football in high school.
Yeah.
So like that mindset of having somebody, like, you got to think about it. I had to live up to Emmitt Smith shit. So when Emmitt said something to me, it was okay. You're right. I gotta get that knowledge. I need to. It ain't too far of not hearing what you saying. Just listen to how you saying it. Like, bro, you can't.
But
We gotta
what was
stop.
your,
We gotta
but
stop babying
how
these
did your
kids, though,
ears work?
bro.
But how did your ears work when it was somebody that you didn't respect or you didn't want to listen to?
I approach everybody with respect, though, bro. Like when it comes to giving knowledge of the game, like if you done played the sport and you done played at a high level, even if you done messed up on something, I gotta get some out this conversation so it won't be me.
Right.
Respect.
So
Because it's like, how can I not be coachable on and off the field? Because it's something that you can hit me with that's gonna break me down and be like, you know what, I can use that in my everyday life. Like I feel like we give this younger generation so many different excuses that we can't even speak to them on a level that that's going to help them grow because we're so worried about people transferring or people not taking them right. But it's like we ain't yelling at y'all. We ain't motherfucking y'all. So it's like, know what I'm saying? Like, how can y'all, what else can we say? Or do we need to hug y'all while we saying this? Because we can only teach them what we know. We didn't get that type of love. We didn't get I'm gonna hold your hand through this.
right.
So don't you think that's the problem?
So Brittany B got a perfect question. She said, "Do y'all think they are intimidated by us?"
No, I don't think they are. I just don't think like
I'm trying to see how can you though, man? Like, how can you be? Because we always trying to show love to them. Like, it's
I
no
think
way.
they're intimidated by y'all.
Huh?
I think some of them
But why would you be intimidated by people that won multiple national championship and know what it takes to win and understand the standard and understand the process and the system and understand what Coach Saban is saying and buying into the program and doing what we supposed to do? And it's like nowadays, like if the kid doesn't like one thing, he hopping in the transfer portal. If we didn't like one thing, we dealt with it. It made you a man. Like I said yesterday, in the transfer portal, look, if you keep transferring to school to school to school, when you get drafted in the league, if you don't like your coach, how you gonna leave? You can ask for a release, but does that mean another team gonna pick you up? No, unless you're a first round and then they trade you for for that contract or whatever. But other than that, you're not gonna be able to hop into that transfer portal because of what's going on. Then you don't fit the system and you don't like their coach and you don't like the way that certain things is going. No, that is not gonna happen in the league. And I think that a lot of guys are shooting themselves in the foot when they do that because of they transfer because of they don't like a certain coach. Me and my coach didn't get along in the league. I'm not gonna say who it is. I mean, but when it was game time, we were the best of friends. You know what I'm saying? It's a job. I
And
just
then
couldn't
at the end of the day, man, at the end of the day, bro,
leave.
when it's game time, you ain't finna get out there and get embarrassed. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
at the end of the day, me and my coach might not get along, but I know how to work with you. And so
Exactly.
guess what? On game day, I'm coming to ball. I'm suiting up just like you got to go call the plays or tell me what you see up there upstairs if you upstairs or on the field. I mean, like that's what it got to be, man. But I know we do got to give Logan a shout out, man. He just got home. He's been dealing with a rare heart disease, man. Logan, how you doing, big dog? We proud of you, man.
Shout out to you, Logan, man, for making
That's
it
all,
happen.
man.
Yes, sir.
We
Logan
appreciate
got a question for everybody, man. Where he said, "Do you think Bama got snubbed at the top 4?"
we lost 2 games, but there were by a total of 4 points, and OSU lost by 23 points at home to Michigan. Well,
if Bama ain't in the playoff, it ain't no playoff.
that's what I would say because they know if they give us 30 days to prepare for a team,
It's over with.
it's over with.
Man.
We got 30 days to prepare for you. We finna watch Coach Saban finna break down every film from this coach, the school that he was at two schools ago, and go back and see what he running. And y'all know it. And that's how we was able to be so successful when the playoff came because we were ready for anything, like Trent said. Well, like EJ said that Coach Saban has multiple technique that can stop any offense. It's just that guys have to be in the right spot.
Man, Bama just supposed to win. Don't worry about all that. We ain't get snubbed. You lose, that's what happens when you lose.
Right.
Yeah. I think Coach Saban made a good analogy though. If you put us in that playoff bracket, no matter who you line up against, like, are we the underdog? And I definitely don't think we're gonna ever be the underdog. But I definitely think, man, if you go out there and win and do what you're supposed to do, you don't even get into that conversation of being snubbed. Period. So it is what it is, man. I know when they start this new playoff bracket, I don't ever see Alabama not being in it unless Nick croak. Not saying that he will, unless Nick retires some, bro. I definitely think we're in the playoffs every year if they put this they enlarging this playoff system.
So man, we winding down, man. We over on time. So I would like to know what you guys got coming up and what you got going on. And I will start with you up next.
Oh man, too much just training here in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. Same thing, got 7-on-7 low-key ballers coming up this in 2023 with Coach Blake and his brother. So looking forward to that.
Trent.
Oh man, we got the ropes, man, with TR3, man. We on Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. every day, man. And we have Reggie Ragland, Super Bowl winner. We had Terrence Cody on here today, Big Mount Cody, Super Bowl winner. We have Funny Man, Mike McCoy, one-time champ. Myself, Bo, you on there every Thursday. Blake on there. Is it Monday? No, Tuesday. He on there Tuesday.
Blake be missing
Thursday,
work, man.
So we gotta spread Blake days out a little bit. We gotta, he's supposed to be in on the Mondays and Thursdays and Fridays. Now it's went from Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
It's going like that. I'm on that though. Yeah.
What school you at? Huh?
Say it again.
What school you the AD at?
Oh no. I'm the athletic director out there in Irondale Youth Sports, man. So, anything that we can do for these kids, man, I'm definitely there for it. We actually about to get ready to start basketball season, moving out of football season. Then hopefully we get into track too, man. But man, just getting this stuff coming along, man. Like I'm always trying to help these kids out and move to the next thing, man, and try to help these kids grow. But dope. Yeah, man, and raising these kids, baby, that's it.
What about you, Coach Six?
Man, I got Christmas coming up, man. I gotta go spend money. I gotta go hit that mall, man. My baby girl asked for some expensive things and some things I got coming up, man. I'm just training, man. My little girl, she's balling. She's doing the thing. She's getting bigger and bigger as the days go by, man. Just supporting her and it's just a different look in life, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm always coaching my quarterbacks and stuff, but when I go over there, that's my opportunity just to sit back and just enjoy the game and also enjoy watching her play. And also got the little 7-on-7 team with the low-key ballers. We balling, baby. We got a schedule. We got our schedule planned and got everything mapped up. We got a great group of guys. Yeah, that's about it, man.
Hey, Trent and Bo, I need y'all to donate to that too.
Gotcha. Yeah, sure. I told y'all I'd be a sponsor.
Facts.
Send me the info.
We need to get on that.
Send me the info.
I will.
I'm sponsoring a team out of Baltimore as well.
We need to tap in on that, bro.
Is Coach Jones a part of this?
Part of what?
The low key ballers.
Nah. He got his own shit going on.
What about you, Johnny?
He ain't doing everything. What about you, Johnny?
What you got going on, Johnny?
Me?
You got going on and what you got coming up next?
I'm just, hey, same old thing. I'm keeping on. And just, hey, you know, I've been in it for about 15 years, man. I know all y'all coaching. I'll just tell y'all one thing. Always be faith builders. Don't be faith killers, man, because somebody looking up to y'all.
For sure.
And, you know, I can't tell y'all it ain't about the money. We all need to make money and provide for our families, but sports is one of those things where coming from places that a lot of us come from, man, a lot of people don't make it out. So we need to be that beacon of light and show everybody like, hey, if you can do it, if we can do it, anybody can do it. Just put your mind to it. Keep God first. And I don't think you guys understand that the positive message that y'all putting out there. So y'all just, you know, I'm impressed with you guys. I appreciate y'all having me on. And Trent, it's always good to talk to you, even though you still got that small hair with them dreads. But, but it's all good, man. I look
All
at
right, Johnny. Everybody know you 360 with a 2-year-old voice. You better go on now.
yeah. And Trent, if you could have heard Bo calling your name the other day about his clothing line, man, I gave him a hard time about that all week.
The whole time, get what he hollering out. Hey Trent, hey Trent, hey Trent. Hey Trent, what they say, Trent? You know what they say, Trent? Hey Trent. Yeah, for a whole 45 minutes, man, by that.
Johnny crazy, man.
But y'all let me know, man, if I can do anything for y'all. We still in business, you know, down here in Northport. Blake, congratulations on your job.
Appreciate you, man.
Christion, keep it up, man. Let me know if you need anything. When you're in Tuscaloosa, you need an indoor facility, let me know. Take me up on it.
Bet.
So, again, I appreciate it. And, Bo, I'm proud of you, man. You know, even though sometimes you know, you do that right there, but it's all good.
I do what? Get on your nerve?
No, you stutter a little bit, but it's all good. I'm proud. So I appreciate it, man.
I'm ready to get on to you now.
Hey, Johnny, what's your what you got your IG or something I could DM you?
Yeah, JPI Sports. JPI Sports. That's all it is. JPI Sports.
I'm gonna holler at you, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, man. Coming up next, I'm on TR3 radio show tomorrow. You can catch me on Bama Standard Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Also, I'm on Cameo. Clothing line is dropped and is on the rise and have more customers and motivational speaking, and I'm also mentoring 2-3 kids right now at the moment, and I think that's about it. And and I'm getting on Johnny nerves every other day. You know, running crazy. That's part of my little life I got. But it was good hearing from you guys tonight, man. I appreciate every last one of you, man, and I hope y'all have a nice holiday and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's to you and your family.
Likewise, man. Appreciate y'all boys. Enjoyed the show today, man.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Boy, man.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, baby.
You already know it.
Yeah.